Well, hello there. Good morning. It's a Tuesday. Welcome to Breakfast Central on News Central. Yes, the 30th day of March 2021. My name is Olisa and
The month flew just like that. I'm Felicity AIYEGBAJEJE. Always a pleasure to know you're watching News Central Television. As always, we got a full package for you.
It's quite, you have to say, quite a twinky, tantalizing Tuesday. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it's tantalizing because the news, aside from the news that the president is saying Nigeria's unity is non-negotiable. He's traveled again. The Nigerian president. He's leaving the country today for medical checkup in London.
Right then, well, you can join the conversation right here and let us know where you are watching from, whether in Nigeria or other parts of Africa, or perhaps across the world in the diaspora. Now use the hashtag NC Breakfast Central and follow us at News Central TV and head to our website for more. That's www.newscentral.africa. And you can also download the News Central TV mobile app. Just head to your Play Store or iOS.
But first, here are some of the things to expect on the show today. We have some news stories to keep you updated with what you may have missed out on during the weekend. The morning tea, as always, we take a look at the papers around the continent for some of the headlines, then our impact conversation. Also today, we'll be looking at the move by the Nigeria's Federal House of Representatives to amend the Cabotage Act in Nigeria. We also have some sports update and then, of course, our timeline and a package on World Cerebral Palsy Day.
I have to say, quite a packed one this morning. Well, let's start with some news that you can use, and we're heading straight to this one, all about Chad and Nigeria, the relations between these two countries.
Yes, indeed. Chad President Idris Deby has assured Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari that terrorism in the Lake Chad Basin will soon be a thing of the past. Well, President Deby, while on an official state visit to Nigeria, said he has confidence on the new structure of the Multinational Joint Task Force, that's the MNJTF.
Well, the Chadian leader, who also discussed bilateral relations between the two neighboring countries, Nigeria and Niger, Chad, called for more cooperation in tackling mutual challenges like the refilling of the Lake Chad Basin, which has left millions without any livelihood.
Boko Haram is indeed an evil that has hampered the four countries of the Lake Chad Basin and that has done many harm to our populations. It would behoove you to remember that since 2013, 2014, the four countries put together their means to create the Multinational Joint Task Force. This Multinational Joint Task Force has had good results. Unfortunately, the resiliency of Boko Haram and the Islamic State in the Lake Chad Basin has been unprecedented. They are being supplied and being trained and being formed through Libya. The MNJTF has done a lot of work, and as you have seen recently, we have exchanged on this with my brother and on the way ahead. And that with the new team of the Chief Defense Staff and the new commander that has been appointed at the Multinational Joint Task Force, we're convinced that we can eradicate Boko Haram. There's a lot of hope on this new team with this new strategy. I remain confident that the four armies of the four countries can finish this evil and eradicate Boko Haram once for all.
Interesting briefing there. The resilience of Boko Haram continues to be something that frightens a lot of persons, but it shouldn't be the case. It should be that we are stronger than a couple of people that want to sabotage our unity.
Yeah, quite an interesting visit and on the bilateral relations between Nigeria and Chad with the Chad president. Just you heard that statement there. Right then, let's go straight to the southern part of Africa, and it's all about the president.
Ramaphosa And the Deputy President, David Mabuza, yesterday visited pharmaceutical giant Aspen in Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape. The visit focused on the process of producing the COVID-19 vaccine at a sterile manufacturing facility.
Well, Aspen Pharmacare collaborated with Johnson & Johnson to establish a capacity required the manufacturing of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine at the Aspen facility. So let's hear from the South African president himself.
And we had a conversation with the minister, with the deputy president, with the executives of Aspen, and indeed the minister also took it forward with the executives of Johnson & Johnson. And we said, this Aspen here belongs to us as South Africans, and it is making life-saving vaccines, and we as South Africa must be in pole position to be able to get the vaccines that are manufactured here. But we also said we wanted the vaccines to be also available to the rest of the continent with immediate effect. With immediate effect. And the minister and I also intervened, and the DP kind of put quite a bit of push on the Johnson & Johnson people and said, we need you to finalize the full commitment to South Africa and to the rest of the continent. And we are pleased with the outcome of that intervention, an intervention that has led to Johnson & Johnson finally saying yes and confirming and signing, I think as late as yesterday, that they will make 220 million vaccines for the entire continent of Africa for starters, and we anticipate that it will build up to even 400 million. And that for South Africa, we will have the 30 million vaccines. But I then impressed upon them that I want them now.
There's just something about this president that I find very distinguished. I don't know whether it's his speech, yes, or, you know, I know I'm going to come to what he's saying later, but I mean, the man is composed when he is talking, and it's something to, to celebrate in Africa, where you have people who cannot, you know.
Clearly no script, no speech on that speech there that he was giving, and clearly making it clear that he wants it now after visiting the pharmaceutical company.
You know, we're talking about this the other day. The doctor didn't show a lot of optimism about Nigeria getting their own vaccine, but this is another way, really, to look at how we can get our own version of the vaccine. Vaccine. They manufacture it there in South Africa. I mean, kudos to them.
Well, they've got a giant plant there, factory Aspen, so that's why the president and the deputy visited it and talked about. It's a
very good and strategic move. Who knows? They might begin to help supply to other
He talked about getting about 30 million, and said he wants it now. All right, so strong words from Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa. Let's move still this time on the southern parts of Africa. Now, the Islamic State group has now claimed responsibility for the attacks in Palma and multiple army outposts and the murders of Christians among Western citizens and the destruction of government buildings and banks. Now, in a statement, ISIS claims that the seizing of Palma, the attacks on the army since Wednesday, and the assassination of Christians. And this is all coming from Mozambique.
The militant attack on Palma is the closest yet to the major gas project during a 3-year Islamist insurgency across Mozambique's north. Now, since October 2017, extremist fighters have raided villages and towns in the region, forcing nearly 700,000 people to flee their homes. I mean, we're just talking about the President Derby, you know, the fight against insurgency. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's just straight up to everyone.
And I do believe that that's one of becoming one of the hottest pressing points on the continent. The attacks in northern Mozambique by terrorist groups, and what the government is doing about it. I'm sure we'll get to have more of that on News Central right here. Well, Up next is all about the morning tea. We'll look at the front and back pages of African dailies. All right then, welcome back. Still Breakfast Central, Olisa and Felicity. It's a Tuesday. All right, so let's go. What's trending on the papers, Felicity? Where do you want to begin? North, south, east, west, central?
I'm just going to start from Nigeria with the Nation newspaper. Nigeria is better, stronger as one nation, says Buhari. He was speaking at the birthday celebration of the leader of the All Progressive Congress, Tinubu. Let's put our diversity aside. Tinubu, this is not time for austerity. There's a picture of the man of the moment on the front page of the Nation newspaper.
Oh, he served as chairman at the symposium yesterday for the birthday of the APC leader. All right, so which means we started in West Africa. And, which means we can only favor. Let's take the Daily Times in Nigeria, another paper in Nigeria. The Daily Times, it talks about federal government, which is FG, states debt profile rises to 32.9 trillion naira. That's all about a huge debt profile there in the country. But also they've gone for a front page of the Daily Times here. It says a physical challenged man controls traffic.
This man all the time.
Yeah, at a hotel junction in Victoria Island, which is not too far from here.
Yeah, he does that. He does that from different. You see him around Ligalia, Yorinde sometimes. You see them on the axis when you come into work. They're doing well, and I mean, people appreciate them as well for helping.
Why have they taken it this morning on the front page? Because
I mean, it's just. I mean, it's something nice, helping to
highlights. Yes, it just shows that people with disabilities contribute to society.
Yes,
but
I mean, it's a positive thing. I would say it's a nice picture to look at. But it's also risky, I think. He's so low.
Or are they trying to point out something that perhaps something is amiss? Why we or something should be doing better?
High vehicles.
Should be doing better. Or people with disabilities who are clearly contributing and playing their part to nation building in every sense of the word.
Let's see the New Times, this time in Rwanda. New policy in the offing to regulate betting industry. That's on the front page. And then there's a picture there that shows suspects in Musanze terror attack appear before military high court.
Wow.
Observing COVID-19 regulations there.
That looks like a bit of hot water for those suspects. So we're in East Africa with that one there, so which means only fair if we can go to the new vision in Uganda. Let's go to the new vision in Uganda. It says 9 Ugandan drivers shot dead in South Sudan. Quite a sad story. There's a Sudanese rebel suspected to be behind killings. More on that on page 5 of the new vision in Uganda.
More vaccination there. The picture of Archbishop gets vaccinated against COVID-19. That's Stephen Kazilimba. He's the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda. Setting an example there.
All right, so let's go to South Africa with the Sowetan, one of the papers that we always love to feature here on the program. The Sowetan are leading this morning with quite interesting front page editorial. It goes, lead us not into, and there's the ellipsis
factional
there.
Scrambles take lion's share of party's executive meeting discussions, relegating burning national issues such as COVID-19 vaccine and student fees to the periphery.
So it says, lead us not into, and they put the shambles below. So there's a picture of Ramaphosa and perhaps the NEC leader there. Says, what NEC debated, COVID-19 vaccines, municipal deployment and student funding. So quite an editorial one from the Sowetan this morning in South Africa.
What we just showed you earlier is also captured. The speech by President Cyril Ramaphosa. He said, local facility to make COVID vaccine. If you want to read details of it, it's on page 4 of the paper. I think that's some of the big stories.
Right then, so there you have it. Some of the papers and stories we followed this morning on Breakfast Central on the Morning Tea with Olisa and Felicity. We'll take a quick breather. We'll come back. We still have more for you, including our impact.
Thank you for staying with us. We just get into it now with our first impact conversation. It has to do with maritime.
Yes, and in Nigeria, where the House of Representatives have passed for the second reading a bill that seeks to restrict the use of foreign vessels in domestic, coastal and inland commercial activities. Now, the bill, which was sponsored by Honorable Linda Ikpeazu, will pave the way for Nigerians to operate without competition from foreign vessels.
With all its maritime potentials of almost 900 kilometers of coastline and over 10,000 kilometers of inland waterways, there is almost non-existent participation of Nigerian indigenes in the domestic shipping industry, despite a booming offshore oil and gas industry increasingly dependent on the coastal waters and a growing inland waterways traffic. We're now joined by Dr. Femi AIYEGBAJEJE, lecturer from the University of Lagos. Many thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, the honorable that presented that bill outlined a number of reasons. We'll get to that in a bit. But first, do you think it has become necessary to amend the Cabotage Act 2003?
Okay, thank you for having me. The cabotage law is long overdue. Nigeria is not the first country to actually activate the cabotage law. Over 50 maritime nations have also adopted the cabotage law. Now, the cabotage law that we are talking about is good for Nigeria because just as in other modes, we cannot allow foreigners to come and run, let's say, road transport. So also our coastal waters must be run by indigenous ship owners, because that is what the law is saying, whereby Nigerians who own their ship will be allowed to run our waters. And it has several implications for Nigeria as a country, in terms of economy, in terms of security. When we talk of economy, we are talking about job employment opportunity for people, because the cabotage law only allows indigenous Nigerians to own and run their ship, and all the crew members will also be Nigerian. Well, what are we talking about? We're talking about inland water movement. Let's say we are moving your cargo from Lagos to Warri. You don't need the Chinese or somebody from Singapore to do that. We have our own indigenous operators that can do that. So that is what the law is talking about. So it's long overdue, and this is not the first time. During Obasanjo regime in 2003, I think they brought up that law, but it's as if it is not being practiced. So they will really need to look at some key areas that is hindering its practice. So they check that, and then we are going to go. It's good for Nigeria. It's a welcome development.
All right, Dr. Femi. Now, we have seen, for instance, cases where some of the laws stipulated in the Cabotage Act have been violated, and yet no sanctions, meted out to the violators. Why do you think this has been so far?
Yes, because the issue of cabotage law this is not the first time we are hearing it. Like I said earlier, during Obasanjo regime, precisely in 2003, that law was put in place. And up till now, the key importance of that law has not been seen being practiced. So it is now time to check those areas that is hindering that law, and they put it in place. And from here now on, we have to move on. We cannot remain like this.
What guarantees? Sorry to interrupt you, but what guarantees are there that even with this law that it will be implemented before we go to other aspects?
This is where the local operators need to come out as one and try to protect that law too. It's not only by leaving it for National Assembly will pass the bill and maybe probably get the accent or definitely get the accent of the president who assent to it. But the local operators, what do I mean by those local ship owners, must come together as a body and fight and make sure that that law is being seen practiced.
Okay.
So that is what I would suggest for now.
One of the reasons given by Honorable AIYEGBAJEJE for amending the Act is what she described as a dismal, if not almost non-existent participation of indigents in domestic shipping industry, despite what she describes as a booming offshore oil and gas industry increasingly dependent on the coastal water and a growing inland waterways traffic. Does she have a point with this argument? Is it a valid enough reason to amend the Act?
The legislators are there to make laws for us. And wherever they see some gray areas, it is their duty bound to correct it. So having done that, they will have been seen to do their own job. So it is now left for those people that the laws are to protect, to make sure that, yes, this law is being activated. So if that is not done, then you don't need to blame the National Assembly. That means they have done what they are supposed to do. So that is the point I'm trying to make. Make sure that the law is being activated. The operators now need to call their attention, draw their attention that this is your law that you have put in place to protect us. They are not following it. So they will now call those people in charge.
Okay.
So and get them online.
Okay, Dr. Femi. Now, if we look at part 2 of the coastal laws, clearly states that a vessel other than a vessel wholly owned and manned by a Nigerian citizen, built and registered in Nigeria, shall not engage in domestic coastal carriage or cargo, and passengers within the coastal or territorial inland waters, whether island or any point within the waters of the Executive Economic Zone of Nigeria. Now, but we have gone ahead to see that foreign vessels engage in domestic coastal carriage. Why is this so, and what are we not getting right between, this local and foreign-owned vessels?
Okay, like I said before, the cabotage law is to protect the local content. And also, in that law, don't forget that it includes ship built in Nigeria. Ship built in Nigeria, or encouraging shipbuilding. Now, do we even have the technology to build our own ship? So there are some other areas that government also need to intervene to help these people. Now, if we don't build our own ship, part of that cabotage law will be infringed on because we don't need to buy ship abroad. But let us even leave the issue of shipbuilding, although it's very important. Would government now need to encourage and look at how can we start building our own ship here? The technology is there. Now, when this ship is being built, it is being owned by Nigerians and run by Nigerians. We have these experts everywhere too that can do this. It's not too much for us to run. We can do it. If you go to riverine areas, they move around. They move around from Sapele to Warri to other riverine areas. It's not being run by outsiders. Not even being run by other tribes from Nigeria. It is being run by the same people. They speak the same language. So that is the point we are making here. Whatever government can do to support these people, they have to do it. Because it has security implication, it has economic benefit for the country.
Okay, one thing is to make laws, you rightly pointed out. The other thing is to implement. There is much that the government should do and play their role, but whose responsibility should it be primarily to ensure that this law is implemented to the letter, if that is, should it go through the amendment process, be implemented so that the benefit can be reaped adequately?
There are several of government agencies that will also play a part in implementing this law. Key key among them is Nimasa.
Okay.
That's Nimasa. Also the port authority, because this ship cannot bet, and they will bet at the port. They will load and offload at port owned by Nigerian government. Then Nimasa is there to coordinate. So these two agencies have a very key role, very important role to play in implementing this law. And they are up to the task.
Okay.
Particularly Nimasa. So implementing the law can never be a big problem.
Well, Dr. Femi,
if really we want to.
Yes, if we truly, really want to. And I want to bring it back to what Honorable Ikpeazu also said during the debate, that quoting her words, that there are many factors responsible why the Act hasn't met the targets of its original promoters, range from administrative to attitudinal operational determinants. But says some impediments are also quite legislative. Now, will this proposed amendment address the issue? If yes, which? And from a foreign perspective, Dr. Femi, don't you think this can perhaps be seen as protectionism coming from Nigeria from this one going forward?
Yes, this can never be seen as protectionism, because this is a global practice.
Okay.
It is not Nigeria. It is not new in Nigeria. Take for instance, Malaysia is a maritime nation. Singapore is a maritime nation. How will I go there to say I want to run their inland waterways? Do you think it makes sense? So they can never even think of protectionism, because we have our own maritime, our own coastal waters, and it is we are duty bound to protect it. United States is a maritime nation. It won't be easy for any Nigerian to go there and say you want to register, unless maybe you are a Nigerian American. So it's not a protectionism. Nobody can scatter or bully us into believing that we are protecting our. It is the government to protect its own. So having said that, I believe that the legislative, they know why they want to make sure that this can. Don't forget that they are representing us, and they are duty bound to do whatever that will protect our interests. So I don't see them going in wrong direction in this area.
All right.
All we can do is to support them to achieve that.
Doctor, I must say thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast to share your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good day.
Okay, so no fears of protectionism, but clearly now I think it onus then lies from within people like Nimasa, and
like he rightly pointed out,
and industry players.
This coming just as we're having this issue with the Suez Canal blockade, it just seems like some sort of coincidence, amplifying the conversation again. But it's good news at the moment that the Suez Canal has been opened to traffic.
The ship is floating now. The ship is floating now. All right,
we're going to break now, and when we come back, we have lots more for you. We have sports, we have our timeline, and then we have a special package. You don't want to miss it.
Right, and welcome back. Still Breakfast Central on News Central with Olisa and Felicity. It's a Tuesday. Don't forget you can catch us right here on our social media portals at News Central TV, and use the hashtag #NCBreakfastCentral for good measure. Right then, some sports now for you. So big news in the African Cup of Nations qualifiers yesterday. Malawi have qualified for the African Cup of Nations for the third time in their history. They beat Uganda by a goal to nothing in their last qualifier game in their group. So we're just looking at some of the results from yesterday for the Ugandan side. It means the Cranes of Uganda do not get to qualify. They lost out to Malawi. Malawi go through. Burkina Faso beating South Sudan by a goal to nothing. They are through. Angola with a 2-0 victory over Gabon. Gabon also through. DR Congo, they're not going anywhere, but they still won 1-0 against Gambia. And Egypt thrashed Comoros Island by 4 goals to nothing. Now, both Egypt and Comoros are through to the African Cup of Nations. We saw Mohamed Salah of Liverpool scoring twice last night alongside Mohamed El Neni of Arsenal. And it means Togo and Kenya do not get to go anywhere because they're in the same group with Egypt and Comoros Island. So Kenya having a 2-1 victory over Togo in their last group game. Now Algeria, who are defending champions, are also through. They beat Botswana by 5-0. Goals from the likes of Sofiane Feghouli and yes, Riyad Mahrez of Manchester City also scoring goals, and Zimbabwe losing at home 2-0 against their fellow Southern African nation, Zambia. So good news for Malawi. They are through to the next round. Today we'll get to see matches just to be sure when it comes to the AFCON 2021 qualifications. So the Central African Republic against Mauritania. Morocco qualify, but they take on Burundi. Burundi still have a chance to, but can they beat Morocco? Many might say not a chance. Cameroon are the hosts to take on Rwanda. Rwanda also fighting for a place. Should they beat Cameroon, maybe they might just go through depending on results elsewhere. And Mozambique against Cape Verde. Guinea-Bissau against the DR Congo. More matches for you. Senegal against Eswatini. Ivory Coast against Ethiopia. Madagascar against Niger. And a group that concerns so many Nigerians, which is what we're looking for today. Nigeria versus Lesotho, and Sierra Leone will be looking to beat Benin. So I heard the country's president has given them a huge sum of money for motivation. $10,000 if they can get the job done, because we know that Nigeria is already through. So can they do it? We'll have to wait and see. But it's all about Nigeria and Lesotho. Super Eagles will be playing for the very first time in almost 2 decades in Lagos, in this city. And News Central's Onyechi Obaro has this report for us.
Lagos, the former favorite hunting ground of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. When the Eagles play in Lagos, a win is almost guaranteed. The last competitive game the Nigerian Super Eagles played in Lagos was a 1-0 Nations Cup qualifying win over Zambia in January 2001. While 10 years later, there was a 2-1 friendly win over Sierra Leone at the Teslim Balogun Stadium. With that being said, the Super Eagles of Nigeria haven't played a competitive match in Lagos in 20 years. Considering what Lagos meant to the national team, this definitely was like denying a body its soul. Nigerian Super Eagles returned to their nest for their very first competitive match on the 30th of March 2021 to host Lesotho in the 2021 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. The city is also confident that it can put on all necessary measures for the game, despite the ongoing global coronavirus pandemic. It is believed that football victories are built on clean sheets, and the Super Eagles have been known to have a decent record of that in Lagos. On one hand, because of the famous defenders and goalkeepers over the years, and on the other hand, the rancorous support of Lagos fans, known to be one of the most vibrant in Africa.
For Super Eagles coming back to Lagos, brings a new dimension to football in Nigeria, because this was where we knew that Super Eagles love to play. It will make sure it makes the players want to play more for Nigeria.
Lagos is much more popular than Abuja itself. So the fans there too, the way they support football, support Nigerians, support the Eagles in whatever career, I think that Teslim Balogun is an alternative.
So as the Super Eagles of Nigeria welcomes Lesotho with a grand appearance, fans in Lagos are not left out in the frenzy.
They have been playing in Uyo, playing in Port Harcourt, playing in Abuja. But I know you never compare this the fans here with the one I've even told you about, because now the whole fans are here in Lagos.
Hearing that the real thing is coming here live, it gives me that chills back in the days when that was the only time that I think it was U17 when I had that experience. I mean, seeing it again will be fun.
I expect a lot of goals because the energy in Lagos is unstoppable. The energy in Lagos, the vibe and everything. The fans will be here and I expect them to score.
And then we await the arrival of the Super Eagles of Nigeria in this most celebrated temple, only filled with good memories. I am Onyechi Obaro for News Central TV.
Well, I don't envy what the traffic will be like today.
So the Super Eagles are in Lagos today, in the city of Lagos. Thank you very much, Onyechi Obaro, for that interesting report. So they are back for a competitive game for the first time in a long while. So I think 8,000 fans will be allowed into the stadium, but I expect that, there'll be lots of press. I'll try and be there if I can.
If you can.
Yeah, it
definitely if you can, because I don't see the traffic being nice to anybody today.
Well, basically, anyone who's going there in terms of press should be leaving right now. I think Udoka is getting set, and Onyechi also at the stadium there this morning. It will be quite a surreal experience. The Super Eagles are back, but it's a pandemic.
Let's see.
Remember those days when they played Lagos?
I'm looking forward to it. I would watch this
because this is their temple. This is the home ground of Super Eagles. At least it used to be, over the bar. All
right, let's go on to our next package. We have something on cerebral palsy. It was put together by Bernard Kede. He is a correspondent here at News Central Television. Take a look and we'll be back.
30-year-old Kupe Anthony Olumide is a business administration graduate from the Lagos State Polytechnic. He is also the founder of Kupe Foundation, which helps people living with cerebral palsy like himself. The month of March is set aside globally to raise awareness for people living with cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, and the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, played host to a small gathering of government officials, parents and caregivers of Down syndrome and cerebral palsy patients, as well as the patients themselves. Notable in the gathering was the fact that most caregivers are women, and some even single mothers.
We need some clothes for the mothers who have children with special needs. And I must confess here, a good number of them are single mothers because the men have left the homes.
The attendees were drawn to emotion when Kupe spoke, telling the governor that cerebral palsy patients are smart and would like to work rather than to be treated like disabled beggars.
I really think 2019, getting work is very hard. People who don't believe that I can work. If I can get there, you get out. Take 1,000 naira, get out of here. No, please, what is legal to government to employ me? I can work. I also raise funds for my family.
In response to all the issues raised, the governor assured the attendees that his administration will do all it can to ensure that caregivers get the required support needed in caring for people living with Down syndrome and cerebral palsy. But the highlight of the evening was when the governor said this.
Anthony, you get a job.
We want to use this opportunity to talk to our fathers, because a lot of these fathers abandon these children and their mothers. It is not good. It is not fair. We know it is not an easy responsibility, but you can't leave that responsibility to the mothers alone.
Every local government should have one center where parents can take their children from, what they call early intervention. Then from there, as the children are progressing, some of them will go to regular school.
The office, I'm going to try and I'm going to let them know that the cerebral palsy children can also add value in decision making and education in an organization, that we also have the brain and the impact to project to the water. The cerebral palsy children be also human beings.
The evening ended in a joyous note, with attendees being more enlightened about people living with cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, and the governor giving out financial support to them. Bernard Akede, News Central Lagos.
Alrighty, time for our timeline. Well, I must say that report was, especially where he said they can contribute. You can see the intelligence in their eyes, really.
Contribution
to
society. Yeah. So disability not a hindrance at all. And huge support from the Lagos State and Lagos State governor themselves, and also from the press, bringing awareness about cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, because they are human beings in our society like us. So they must be included. We must be inclusive.
All right, let's take a look at what is on our timeline today. And I have this one for you, dear vendor. Okay, dear vendors, did you know that no refund, no exchange transactions are prohibited under consumer protection law in Nigeria? And that's the question for our vendors. And then, of course, you say customers, please know, okay, can we flip back to that now? So please know your rights. Please know your rights. If you've been scammed by such vendors, you can report them to FCCPC. You can read up on your rights on their website. The FCCPC is the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission in Nigeria. You know, there's a lot of Instagram vendors now, and you will see on their bio, they will put no refund, no payment on delivery, no exchange. And it doesn't matter whether the quality of what you ordered and what was delivered is the same. So I think this is important.
So it's actually illegal, right? So it's under the protection law of Nigeria.
That's what I said. It's prohibited under exchange are prohibited. Yes.
We didn't know that. Okay, we're learning.
Look at some of the comments actually. A customer came into the store, saw a lamp. It was in perfect condition, transferred the money, and then said he didn't like the kind of bulb it uses and asked for a refund. Should I refund him? Was it ground for refund? Then this person says, if the lamp is still in perfect condition, then you should refund his money whenever you can, or he can exchange it for a goods he likes worth the same amount of money. I mean, we have license to change our mind, go.
Yeah, so basically it's practically, okay, let me take this one, which says, how about vendors that collect money for investment from customers, and when time lapses, they refuse to pay the paid return on investment? Where can we read about that? And Mark Amasa says, start by checking if the investment scheme is registered with the SEC. And
Securities and Exchange Commission in Nigeria.
Okay, so it says if it is, you are likely going to have a legal protection regarding it. If it's not, then you just have to be praying they eventually pay, and they are most likely a Ponzi scheme. But I think it goes back to interesting when you talked about that. People have to be enlightened in Nigeria that you don't have to actually put out that no refund and no exchange.
I saw this and I really wanted. I'm going to
vendors
put it on my Instagram bio.
Okay.
So I'll put the post up. Maybe I don't know if they can pin it on something. I've never done the highlights thing, so I'll try and maybe highlight it and put it on my bio for the.
But what about the vendors who put this thing about no refund, no exchange? Are they aware that it's prohibited under the Nigeria Consumer Protection Law? Are they aware?
They might not be, and that's why, such posts, when I see them, I just quickly grab them. My phone is opened on the website of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. So if you are in Nigeria, it's a good website to go get updated on your rights as a buyer.
Yeah, because it takes bold guts, especially when you're in a Western country, to for a business, no matter how small, vendor to say no refund, no exchange. Like, really? Right then, let's move on to my timeline. So this one is quite an interesting video about some of the fun things we get to see that almost looks impossible. So check this out.
No way.
Let's roll that again. I'm going to be talking over it because I really wonder, the concentration. Look at the poise he did that with, and somehow he calculated it. He went 1, 2, like Hamilton 4. Oh my gosh. And I'm sure the person who was filming was like, this is impossible.
Yes, there was an explicit there. Actually, we had to remove it to make.
Can we try this, Felicity? Can we try this?
Well.
Yeah, I think we should try. We can try this bridge.
You should always be They say you should always be open to try new things, but this one, after taking pains to start it up to that
we
point.
We can start by building the bricks, one by one. To see if it doesn't fall off at least first.
Yeah. Well, I'm game. I'm game to try things.
All right.
New things.
Yeah, we can do it right here on this table, right?
No, not right now. Later. We'll come back and do it. But you can try it. It's a fun thing to look at, and I mean, you can try over and over again, and you will be like that superstar that just walked away like that's
more
small
swag.
beans.
We have to go. Thank you very much for taking with us once again on a Tuesday. We'll be with you again on a Wednesday for Breakfast Central, served hot right here on News Central. On behalf of the cast and crew, Olisa and Felicity say, have yourselves a great week and a great Tuesday. Bye-bye.